Welcome to Study Live. We are seeing the chapter Structural Organization in Animals. So when we see animal kingdom, which is a very vast and a diverse kingdom having so many crore of species. So in that, when we say structural organization, so here we would be seeing about the basic which is going to be a cell, which is going to form the structural and functional unit of life in case of animals. Now, in structural organization, we are going to see that in animal body, there are more than 200 different types of cells. Now, just imagine 200 different types of cells. Very difficult to remember about them. So, when these cells are going to combine together, they are going to form a tissues. So, first in this introduction session, we are going to see about the basic structural and functional unit of life, which is the cell. So, when we say structural organization in animals, it is formed by the basic structure, which is the cell, which is called as the structural and functional unit of life. Structural and functional unit of life. Now, in an animal body, there are around 200 different types of cells. So, we are not going to study these 200 different type of cells, but when these cells, they come together, so we will be seeing about a tissue. These cells, they come together and they form the tissue. So we have cells over here. These cells, they combine together to form the tissue. Then we have these tissues, a group of tissues which together forms the organs. So we have the group of tissues which are together forming the organs. So different organs, when they come together, they form the organ system. Different organs come together and they form the organ system. And organ system, many different organ system. Now, for example, in an animal body, there is digestive system, excretory system, respiratory system, circulatory system. So, different organ systems, they come together and they form the organism. They together form the organism. So, this is how an organism or an animal is formed. This is how an organism, which is the animal body, is formed. So, in this chapter, we are going to study about these group of cells which are together forming the tissues. So, let us see what tissue is. So, tissue is nothing but it's a group of cells. Tissue is group of cells having the same embryonic origin, structure and function, having the same embryonic origin, structure and function, is called as the tissue. So this is what tissue is all about. So they are group of cells which are having the same embryonic origin, structure and function. It together forms the tissues. Now, when we see an animal body, in the entire body we have got two types of cells. So what are those two types of cells in an animal body? So in an animal body, cells are classified into two types. Cells are classified into two types. Now those two types are, first type of cell is the somatic cell and the second one is the germ cell. So first type of cell we have over here is the somatic cell and the second type of cell over here which we have is the germ cell. Somatic cell and the second one is called as the germ cell. So what is the difference in this somatic cell and in this germ cell? Let us see. Now word somatic, in that we have the word soma. Soma means body. In the word somatic, we have the word soma, which means body. So in these somatic cells, we have all cells of the body. These are all cells of the body except reproductive cells. Now here, except reproductive cells are going to be the sperm and the ova. Except reproductive cells, which is sperm and ova. When we say germ cells, these germ cells are the reproductive cells of the body. These germ cells are the reproductive cells which include the sperm in case of male and ova in case of female, which include the sperm and the ova. So here we are going to study about the somatic cells which are forming different tissues. So these somatic cells, they aggregate to form tissues. They aggregate to form tissues, and those tissues are going to be classified into 4 different types. These somatic cells, they aggregate and they form tissues, and those tissues are of 4 different types. Let us see which types of tissues they form. So here we are going to see about which types of tissues they form. So they are forming 4 types of tissues, which is called as epithelial tissue, muscular tissue, connective tissue and nervous tissue. So we have 4 types of tissues which they are going to form. The first one is going to be epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue, which is a simple tissue which is made up of only one type of cell. It is a simple tissue which is made up of only one type of cell. Made up of only one type of cell. One type of cell. Whereas when we see the other type, we have the complex tissue which is made up of more than one type of cell, which is made up of more than one type of cell, made up of more than one type of cell. So in that complex tissue, we have the connective tissue, we have the nervous tissue and we have the muscular tissue. So here we have the connective tissue, then we have the nervous tissue and the muscular tissue. The connective tissue, the muscular tissue and the nervous tissue. This is the muscular tissue and the final one is the nervous tissue. Now the entire body is made up of these 4 kinds of tissue. The first one, epithelial tissue, which will be further divided into squamous epithelium, stratified epithelium, glandular epithelium, columnar, ciliated columnar, cuboidal. We have many types in each of those tissues. But the entire somatic cells, entire body is mainly composed of these 4 types of tissues. So this was the basic introduction of the chapter Structural Organization in Animals. For more videos, please stay tuned with Study Live. Thank you.